Hello, everyone. Good morning. Sorry for being late a little bit. First, this is very special. We're starting our activities as Arab Cinema Center with a very important panel. It's a special year for Egypt, and it's a special year also that we're getting bigger and bigger collaboration with Marché every year, and it's and why when we discussed, about this panel discussion, it's really to give the scale of the Egyptian industry. Sorry, because I've been worried that you're late, so I'm trying to focus. So Egypt, when we say the Arab world's blockbuster nation, the very special thing about Egypt, it is, as industry, it's a nationality itself, not out of nationalism. Once you work in this industry, you already belongs to the industry. I live personally in Egypt since 27 years. Most of the time I forgot I'm not Egyptian, and I belong to the industry from day one I arrived to Egypt. The scale you have here, the examples you have here will give you the bigger picture of Egypt. Starting with Hussein Fahmy, president of the Cairo Film Festival. He's an icon legend. I'm always impressed with his energy, how every year he's trying to keep the festival on its feet, to keep it rich, to keep finding talents. The slogan should be the curious case of Hussein Fahmy in the Cairo Film Festival. The other example, Amr Mansi, originally he's a squash player. A world champion. But how the industry reflect on him, he worked hard on El Gouna Film Festival. He did miracles, and he's still doing miracles, that it became one of the top festivals in the region and maybe even internationally. And this gives you example of having Cairo Film Festival, El Gouna, the second oldest festival in the Arab world, and El Gouna, the newest, and how it's establishing more and more base for the Arab cinema. The other great example, Murad and Sausan. Murad Mustafa, director of Aisha Can't Fly Away, and Sausan, producer. It's selected in certain regard. They were here in Cannes 2 years ago with their short Aisha, or I Promise You Paradise. The film got more than 100 awards around the world. The example of this, how also reflected the industry on them. Murad didn't study cinema at all. He worked as assistant director in everything you can imagine. But that's the effect of this Egyptian industry on the people and to inspire them. Sausan, her father, is a very key writer, but that's also reflecting that you are in an environment healthy this way. Ahmed Badawi, the head of Egyptian Film Commission. Finally, now we have a very strong commission attracting key projects. One of them will be soon on Apple TV. You will talk about it. So to make it short, I'm sorry because I'm excited about having Egypt as the panel discussion. So thank you, Guillaume, and also thank you, Nick. You are a dear friend, and you're always one of the experts in the Arab film industry, actually. Sorry. I let I left you to the end to say, it's when we say Yusra, just for the non-Arabs or who doesn't know Yusra, when you say Yusra, we don't need to say the legend, the icon, because Yusra means all of this, And plus, Yusra, because she's in the industry, also you feel you belong, because as long as she's there, the amount of diversity she did in her work, and is still working with the new directors, she already starting 2 films with the new directors already, as a member of the Academy on the Oscars, watching all the films because she needs to vote, the discipline she has, it's always impressive. Sorry, of course, I will never forget you, but...
Thank you, Ala. Ala told me it was going to be very short. He was going to say just a few words. I think we can let him speak all day, but he's very passionate And it's a pleasure, of course, to work with you. I just wanted to say a few words because I want to underline the wonderful collaboration that we have with Arab Cinema Center, who is organizing all those initiatives to support Arab cinema since many years now. How long? 11 years. 11 years of collaboration with the Marché du Film. I want to say a little word also about Egypt because it's an amazing year for Egypt in Cannes. Of course, with the film Aisha Can Fly Away in the official selection at Un Certain Regard. Congratulations. And also on the Marché du Film side, I have to say that we are very happy to have this year a new Egypt pavilion. A wonderful pavilion located at the Pantiero, so if you want to connect with Egypt, if you want to discuss about the opportunities with Egypt, please go visit this pavilion that is organized, if I'm not mistaken, by the Egypt Film Commission, the El Gouna Festival, and the Cairo Film Festival, sorry. And we are very happy to have Egypt at the Marché du Film too, and of course to have this panel today. Thank you, Ala. And I want to thank Arab Cinema Center, but Ala in particular. You saw how passionate he is. So now let's give the stage to the most important people here.
So let's make sure the mic works. 1, 2, 3, yeah, okay. Welcome to our panel, Egypt, Arab World's Blockbuster Nation. I have an amazing panel here today. I'm going to do a very brief preamble, which is Egyptian cinema, long identified with Youssef Kahin and the populist era of the 1940s and 50s, is basking in a new golden age. Commercially oriented Egyptian films of all genres keep breaking box office records at home while finding new audiences across the region, notably in Saudi Arabia. At the same time, bold independent Egyptian films, many of them from younger filmmakers, are winning festival accolades and, of course, making the selection for Cannes, breaking new ground both artistically and thematically. So without further ado, Yusra, I'm going to start with you.
Okay. Okay. I don't know if this opens, but...
Okay, let's make sure that your microphone is working. Okay, lovely.
Hi.
Okay, hi. I'm going to ask you a very simple question, okay, which is, you know, as someone who really has the pulse of the situation, how optimistic are you about Egypt's storytelling future?
Well, I am optimistic, in fact, because I believe we still have the courage to say everything out of the box. For instance, my new film, it's all about, all taboos are broken in this film. It's called Fatten's Daughters. And he's a new director. His name is Mohammed Nader. And I believe you need to do this every now and then. You need to give a shock every now and then to wake up people from their long sleep, because they do go into a different, how would you say, they are so much into media, they are so much into social media, they are so much into these things, they don't have the time to think. So you need to wake up their humanity a little bit. And I believe this film could do such a thing because it is out of the box. So on and off, you have to do it. On and off, you need to make them laugh. On and off, you need to give them entertainment in a different way. But yet, you have to shock them every now and then.
So this is interesting because you have a new director.
Yeah.
But of course, Egypt has a lot of stars like you.
Of course.
Or, you know, they are the groundwork, let's say. They
Yes.
are the structure in terms of the star system for the pan-Arab world.
Yeah.
How important are these stars to Egypt's recent success in film and also in TV series? And how is this evolving?
You know, the importance of a star in a TV series or in a film, the people love the star, so they go and watch the star. And then they can say, yes, I like it. No, I don't like it. Why were you villain in that film? No, we like you to be an angel all the time. Blah, blah, blah. But they do go for the stars because they have a good relationship with their stars. I've been in this world for ages and ages, and every time I see the reaction of the audience, it's so different. And it makes me more happy that I made this connection with them for the last 40-something years in my life. And I'm so proud of it. Being a star is being part of their lives. They know you through this silver screen, and they love you through this, and they trust you. It's an unconditional love. And that's why they go and watch you. So if they are a little bit disappointed, they would tell you, but they will never hate you, except if you harm them.
Well, it's lovely. It's beautiful how you've created this rapport with your audience, and it's obviously very nice that you're encouraging new talents to come to the fore, including the director of your new film.
Thanks God, I think nearly, if not 90% of the new talents, and they are now big stars, they came with me. The first time they worked with me. I feel I have a teeny-weeny part of their success, you know what I mean?
Of course.
So it makes me proud. It makes me happy.
Lovely, lovely. Now, the last thing I want to ask you in terms of your vision of the industry, which is, you know, the big picture vision, is how important, or how do you think Egypt can become more globally recognized as a film force? Obviously, Egypt is the film force in the MENA region. But what are your thoughts about how maybe it can be taken to the next level globally, let's say?
I think who began this was Mr. Shaheen. And I had the privilege and the honor to work with him 90% of his films. We made a wonderful film together, me and Mr. Hussein Fahmy, and it was one of the greatest success, which was The Immigrant at the time. And he fought for showing the whole world Egyptian cinema. I believe we went globally through this man. We did. And he laid his foot on that here in Cannes, specifically in Cannes. And it opened doors for us. It opened doors for other people who can go and work with English films, French films, co-productions. Some of them went to Hollywood, but they never made the Omar al-Sharif Hollywood. You know what I mean? They just went there and that's it. That's not our dream. We need to be bigger. We need to be heard. We need to identify ourselves as Egyptian cinema globally. But we don't have Yusuf Shaheen now. And Shaheen was really persisting in doing this. Whoever is doing it now or trying to do it now, he's doing it as much as he can, but not enough.
Okay, well, we're seeing an evolution though, and so
hopefully, thank you.
So I think things are now, you know, progressing, and of course it's not easy, but I think there's a good momentum right now. That's my impression.
Hopefully. Thank you.
Hussein.
Thank you.
Again, from someone who has the prism, you know, the vision, who's been around for a while and has seen things, how has the Egyptian film industry evolved over the time that you've been a prominent player within it? That's my first question.
Let me first thank you for being with us. I thank the very distinguished panel that we're together. I thank the audience for being here and taking your time to be present with us. The Egyptian cinema has started ever since the creation of the invention of cinema. And ever since the discussion went between whether it's Edison or whether Le Frère Lumière who started it, we had cinema in Egypt. So we go back a very long history in our history. In my way of life, when I started movies, I started by loving cinema and by loving those who made films before us, those creators who made the movies, the great names. They were our professors. I was at the Academy of Arts, and I loved cinema through them. So when I became an actor, I started by being a director first. I studied at UCLA. I got my Master of Fine Arts from there. I worked in Hollywood for a few years. I was making short films and documentaries, but then I came into being in front of the camera. And this was a major responsibility because, as Yusra mentioned, when you have a star that is being liked, it's the star that transmits the whole story. It's the star that transmits all the drama that there is behind. And if it is a star that is being liked by his audience, then you can transmit a better story and a better drama. So in my profession, I have always loved the movies. I've always loved the cinema. And when I became the president of the Cairo Film Festival, it was my passion to be there. It's my second term, but it's a passion that I have. So I have a passion for the movies. I have a passion for the cinema. I have a passion for this world that is dreams. It's full of dreams, and these dreams can be fulfilled at one time. This has always been my target, has always been my ambition. And like Yusra mentioned, we are really breaking through. We're getting out of the box. I made a movie called The Atheist. It's an atheist. It's a very difficult story to transmit in the Arab world. An atheist who goes to his father and tells him, there is no God, there is no religion, I don't believe in this. And we discussed this issue of being an atheist in an Egyptian cinema, Egyptian film. So we are getting out of the box. We are really moving forward. We're moving with the century. We're moving with the age. We're moving with the young generation that is, in a way, alienated himself from the movies. Now they are moving with the social media and they are carrying their phones around. So we have to combat this and we have to fight it. This is what I'm doing actually as a person.
Now, in your role as president of the Cairo Film Festival, what gives you the most encouragement when you see regional films being selected for your festival?
It's great to have competition, and I believe in competition, and competition actually enhances you. Competition makes you better. Without competition, you're nowhere. So we are competing. It's great. We have a beautiful film festival called the Guna Film Festival. We're competing, but at the same time, we're collaborating. It's good. I mean, competition with the Cairo. Let me add this point as long as you're here. When I go to the Guna Film Festival, I feel that the Egyptian Cairo Film Festival has to be as young. Yes, we are old. We are now 46 years old, but we're still young at heart. When I go to Guna, I feel they are youth, and we are as young as they are. So this is what gives it really. So whenever there is competition, it's great. In the region, it's fantastic. I love it, and we're trying to combat this.
Yeah, but at the same time, my impression is that what you just said is that there's a close collaboration between the two events, and not just in terms of showing films that are already made, but even in terms of the market activities, in terms of being a co-production platform or a place where people can turn to get support for their films. So yeah, I mean, the big innovation with Cairo Film Festival in the past years obviously has been the market aspect. And yeah, if you could talk to me a little bit about that aspect and how, as I believe is the case, there's collaboration with Guna even on that front.
Well, what I am doing at the Cairo Film Festival, not only me, my team, is that we have the youth. We are targeting the youth. We go to the Academy of Arts, we get all the youth, we give them privileges to come and watch the films. We have a hub at the Opera House where all the youth gathers there. They go from one film to the other. The other thing is that we have expanded our circle. We're not concentrating only on the center of town. In the center of Cairo, we have expanded ourselves. We went to the theaters in the suburbs. between the east and the west part of the city. We went to other theaters, so we're collecting more audience, and mainly the youth. We're targeting the youth, we're targeting young people, young generations who are coming, as well as the old. We still have them, but we're targeting the youth by which they can come and watch the movies. We're getting better prices for the students of the Academy of Arts and different film lovers.
So yeah, you're nurturing the culture, obviously. But speaking of competition, I cannot not think about the fact, and we briefly touched on this in our conversation before, that there's a concentration of film festivals in the MENA region, which are all sort of bunched together in the dates that go from basically October through December. And there's probably going to be a bit more competition because we all have heard that the Doha is going to launch a more structured film festival probably in that same time period. This has been a question that has been, on the agenda for a long time. What I'm wondering is whether you see more possible collaboration in this sense, because, like you're collaborating with Guna, all of these festivals have market sides as well. What's your take on how this can be possibly turned into a positive, or at the same time, what are your feelings about having to compete with all of these other events to get premieres and to get titles for your event?
Competition will remain. We cannot say that collaboration does not mean competing. We are competing, of course. But then the Cairo Film Festival is a traditional festival that has had this date for many, many years. All these young festivals that are coming, they're coming competing with the same timing. We have our festival in November. Look at how many regional festivals are at the same time in the region. So this is it's not a healthy competition. Because again, it's up to the film directors, it's up to the producer, distributors, which film festival I'm going to attend and which one I'm going to send my movies to. So this is the competition that we're having. And this competition means that we are raising the prices of the movies that we're getting for the film festival. We have to have an excellent jury, we have to have an excellent head of the jury, we have to have excellent movies, and this is tough, because again, we're competing. And the traditional festival, like the Cairo Festival, has to remain actually up to the standards and up to the expectation of the spectators. So this is a tough fight.
No, absolutely, absolutely. But of course, Egypt has the status as the leading film production country. And the history. So that does give you some aura, let's say, and I think it still carries some weight.
I have to add, it's the infrastructure. The infrastructure that we have we have studios, we have movie theaters that lasted for years. We started with the creation of motion picture and the invention of motion picture. We had our studios, we had our films, and this is why we dominated the whole region. And
most important, our talents.
Of course, and the new talents, yeah. But I'm talking about history. So we have this, and we have also the traditional market for the Egyptian cinema has always been Lebanon, Syria, Iraq, and then Sudan, Libya. All these countries now are not in any way getting Egyptian cinema, Egyptian films. We are now concentrating on the Gulf that was not there at the time. So now we are shifting the market, and the Gulf is doing well. It's doing very well with the Egyptian cinema. It's about 45% of the market share.
Absolutely, yeah. Yeah, of course, Saudi Arabia, and of course they have big festival ambitions, and yeah, it's always interesting at that time of the year to see all of these different festivals and how the dynamics between them. But of course, Cairo and Guna are definitely holding their own. So Amr, over to you at this point. My first question is just, you know, when you co-founded the El Guna Film Festival, what was the sort of raison d'etre? What was the reason? What was did you see a gap in the marketplace?
Okay, first let me thank Alaa for all your efforts really with Arab Cinema Center bringing us all here together. I'm honored and humbled to be amongst those distinguished, successful guests, and thanks to you for having the time to watch us. So I'm going to be very transparent. It came by coincidence. So as Alaa was mentioning, I used to play squash myself as a professional. And I started the Guna Squash Tournament with the vision of putting our country and our Egyptian players and the destination like El Guna, who I fell in love with since the first time I visited in 2008, on the international map. And I hustled for 5-6 years since I founded the tournament in 2010 up till the idea of the film festival was initiated because of this squash tournament in 2015. So when the idea was mentioned, and it was mentioned by Engineer Naguib Sawiris and Bushra, our actress, so they saw the success of the tournament, and they, for the love of cinema and the country, I think we were all aligned to introduce a new, fresh film festival in the region. By the time I had zero vision, how is it going to be? But because of the love that we all shared for cinema, for sure, like growing up, I used to, in Alexandria, I cannot think I missed any new premiere of any film, whether Arabic or English. So we all shared the same love of how can we create a new, young, global film festival in the region. So I did not have the expertise or the vision that now I gained through the years. So seeing what this film festival did really, and I believe the Guna Film Festival disrupted the film festivals in the region. I believe it helped Cairo, Ismailia, Luxor, Aswan, and other film festivals in the region to have more competition and to try to always think of new ideas, new initiatives. How are we going to bring more like young and youth filmmakers? We have this great initiatives that we started 2 years ago with the Emerge program. We invite more than 300, 400 young filmmakers from all over the country. I believe the film festival helped the talent management actually industry. It started, I remember back in 2017, all the celebrities, they were dealing themselves with the fashion brands, even the guest relations. Now, the talent management industry, be it in Mat Solution or other companies, it rise and shine. Brands like what happened with the real estate with Orascom, all other brands now wants to associate to soft power, new initiatives, new ideas. Events industry, when we started in 2017, the advertising was really like whenever you have a campaign, you'll think of an advertising campaign. Now the events is the new advertising. So I believe Guna Film Festival helped not only the film festival, the cinema or the film community, but all the creative scene as a whole.
Terrific. Now, as an entrepreneur, you mentioned brands, of course. Do you see that as something? Do you see the brands as something that can play, that can give more opportunities, perhaps to the film industry? Are there more opportunities that are to be unlocked still in this sector?
Well, I believe when we started, brands were only talking about logos. Where is my logo? How big is my logo? Where are you going to put how many logos we're going to have? Now the discussion is totally shifted. I believe they are part of co-producing any storytelling event or any new projects. They want to be part of, sometimes partner with you in the project, or have more effective, impactful role. brands are now like they are the reason of bringing any new project, be it the film festival or a new event with the product placement. Yani it's shaping any new project.
But I mean, you brought Shark Tank to Egypt. How is that experience a sort of case history of what we're just talking about?
I believe Shark Tank was a huge move to the Egyptian to Egypt. It gave a lot of hope. It showcased our Egyptian entrepreneurs, brands like Vodafone, PepsiCo, all international brands wanted to be part of this story that we're very proud of. But I don't know where is the relation of the question.
Well, just because you're an entrepreneur, basically,
Yeah.
and there are different ways of stimulating the industry, and I think a festival can be one, and another can be a brand, but I think we're all talking about basically innovation and different ways of creating more engagement and more investment, of course.
I believe now we're just discussing with Marianne about how can we turn or bring entrepreneurs to the ecosystem of film. How can we engage entrepreneurs to be part of investing in films or study actually how can you make profit out of film, and we can start new funds, and actually there is a lot of opportunities, and I believe there is a big gap.
Okay, terrific. Yeah, that's what I was referring to. Now, I've been told that that you have some film ambitions of your own, and so I'm curious to find out more about that aspect.
I don't think it's true. Maybe Samir has film. No, Samir has film ambitions, and it's his new challenge. So Samir has a challenge every 6 years. So he started when he turned 59. He thought of a new challenge. So he started. He thought, in 6 years, I'm gonna play my first concerto. Okay, since he's not here, so I'm gonna tell you about it. And he made it happen in the Cairo Opera House and in Guna and in Andermatt. And then before finishing his first challenge, he thought, so what is my next challenge? Since I have a film festival, I'm gonna learn how to direct my first film. So it's Samih.
Okay.
Not me.
That was
my new habit will be that I started doing TikTok videos.
Terrific. Yeah, there was a mix-up there. It was Guna, the top levels of Guna, but it wasn't you. But
no, it's yeah.
Okay, well, you can sell those on TikTok, I'm sure. You can make money from those as well.
That's the plan. No, I'm joking.
Okay, well, speaking of a proven filmmaker, okay, Murad, you're here at Cannes with Aisha Can't Fly Away playing an uncertain regard, which thematically provides a rare glimpse of what it's like to be an African immigrant in Egypt, which, of course, I would imagine is a somewhat challenging subject. Was it a challenging subject, and if so, how did you tackle it, and what were some of the issues that you had to thrash out?
Hello, hi everyone. Actually, it was a very big challenge because there is a lot of American and European films talk about this topic in the whole world. So how can I say something new about this topic, especially in Egypt? And I asked myself why we don't have any Egyptian film talk about non-Egyptian characters. We have a big history, like Mr. Hussein said, but I found this something it's missed. So I wanted to explore the new Egyptian society through this new eyes of non-Egyptian characters. And also I wanted to show them as a strong people, not just victims, to honor their struggles. And I grew up in a neighborhood called Ain Shams, and this neighborhood, it's a unique place in the heart of Cairo, and it became a parallel society inside the Egyptian society, and it's mixed between African migrants and Egyptian people. So this place I attached with it, and I started with my career in the short films, with a film about African migrant, and then was the fourth one, and now was the first feature film, to continue this line and to say something about it.
Fascinating, fascinating. Yeah, because of course, one doesn't identify Egypt as a country particularly associated with questions of immigration, but it's obviously very interesting to have that revealed to us. In terms of shorts, you started out with shorts. Obviously, as Ala was saying, you cut your teeth as an AD, and then you started making these shorts, which were about social issues and which won a lot of awards. Can you talk to me about the experience of making the shorts? Yeah, just how you initiated, how you started. A little bit of what you were telling me before, but sort of what kind of gave you that impetus to make the shorts, and how difficult it was, or not difficult, or what were the challenges in that respect?
Of course, the budget is a big issue all the time, but also the competition is very high now for the Egyptian filmmakers and for the whole Middle East cinema. So I started with my first short film. Was 1,000 as well. All my films was 1,000, but I did this. The first one was with my own budget, my own money, and then the film had a big success. So some producers told me we need to make another one. So I did the second one and the third one with the producers. But the fourth one, it was funded by some funds and some investors in Egypt. Yes, Doha Film Institute and CNC from France. It was a co-production between Egypt and France. So little by little, the budget was bigger from the first one until the fourth short. What else? A new filmmakers in Egypt now. Actually, I'm proud because I'm part of this new generation in Egypt, and I'm optimistic about. There is a fresh impatience about the work now in Cairo, but I think we need more films, more productions. But I asked myself why. Maybe because there's like in France, there is a lot of sales agents. They can take a risk and support the new filmmakers. And how we can do that in Egypt? We have only one sales agent to take a risk and to support the filmmakers like Mad Solutions. Really, they did a great job for this part of cinema in worldwide and Middle East. So I think we need more companies and more sales agents to support the projects and new voices of filmmakers.
Okay, terrific. Yeah, that's always a market dynamic. It's sort of like the chicken and the egg. You need. But I think an important aspect of that is the laboratories and the financing and the co-production platforms, such as Cairo Film Connection and Shinaguna. And so my question to you is, do you find that there is a growing number of these types of forms of subsidies that you can turn to? In other words, do you find that perhaps it's getting a little bit easier, or in any event, are these types of structures something that you're aware of and that you have turned to in the past, and that can have an important role in fostering more filmmaking from young directors in Egypt?
Sorry, I didn't get it well.
Sorry for the long-winded
No,
question.
no, no, it's okay. Actually, I was very happy last year was in Elgona Film Festival. They started to support the short films in Cinegona Shorts, right? Yes. So we're missing this part in Cairo or in Egypt.
We have it in the Cairo Film Festival as well.
Sorry, yeah.
مش هفوت لك.
But actually, in the whole world, I think the short film need be more support. Yeah, but in Egypt, I think now it's more open. Many investors can take a risk now and support the filmmakers. Yeah.
Okay, terrific, terrific. Now, Sasan, I'm going to ask you a question related to that before we talk about Aisha, which is in the short films. I mean, with him, you have a typical example of someone who, cut his teeth, in the field, doing the nitty-gritty work, and then makes a short, makes another short, makes another short, and now he's in Cannes. Okay. How, in your experience, how willing are young Egyptian filmmakers to go through all of that work because what I'm seeing sometimes are young directors who go to film school and then they just want to make a feature right away. What is your experience in that respect?
I'm sorry, I have to think for a moment before I talk. Okay. First of all, I work with Murad for a particular reason. Murad does not treat a short film like a step for a feature. He speaks of a short film like a different and independent own of art. It has its own narrative, its own market. It's different. So when we started to working together, we had a plan for the three short films. It's like a trilogy about mothers. So this mindset is what I like to see. It's like I don't do a short film because I just do a short film and I prove like I can direct. It's like, as we say as a joke, everybody knows where to put the camera and then you're good. Say action cut, then you have a short film. But to have a short film with an idea and then to have to think about where to go with it, because also you can make a short film and just leave it at home, and that's not also something that I would want to invest my time and like other things on. So this mindset has to change. We make short films because we love them, we work on them, and we treat them as if importance of a feature. Murad did not study cinema, as Ala mentioned, and this is something also that I find fascinating because we don't follow the rules of what's wrong and what's right. We just do what we feel. It's like if you feel, because as he said, we made Hinnet Ward and we decided that we want a Sudanese migrant because Egypt is a country of diversity and we are not just Egyptian living alone. There is a lot of diversity. A lot of my neighbors are Sudanese, are Syrians. There is a lot of people in Egypt. Also in the Egyptian like we as Egyptians are also very diverse. We're not just from Cairo. We're from Cairo, Alexandria, Mansoura, and another 27 governorates. So this is a mindset. We are not living alone, and that's a good thing. So I think this is where we start. We treat the film, as a whole unit, and then you're good to go to do a feature.
Well, yeah, that's obviously shows a certain kind of rigor that you have, which is very important. Now, speaking of diversity, Egypt is known mostly, I guess. I mean, I don't know if this is true, but I mean, what the primary sort of connotation of the Egyptian film industry is probably just the fact that they make movies that work at the box office, okay? They work at the box office in Egypt, they work at the box office in Saudi, across the MENA region. And, if one had to say one identifying trait of the Egyptian film industry, that would be it, okay? However, here we are in Cannes with an Egyptian film in official selection, which hasn't happened in a while. The question is, how do you feel as a producer of more less of festival films, let's call them, okay? Let's not call it art house, but let's just call it quality films that go to festivals. What are the prospects at the moment for those types of films out of Egypt, from your perspective?
Well, I think that the festival films now, or not to call festival films, there is a very big competition. We don't make personal films as it is. We want to make festival films with big budgets, and then they compete at the box office. And not just to put it in a festival, then it goes home and just you do nothing with it. And I believe the more that we unlock equity to put into these films, the more the quality we have, the more that we can hire stars into those films, and then it will have more potential to in the box office plus the festivals. Because as Yusra said, that people go to the stars into the cinema. It's not just that they go. They know the directors, but then if I have Yusra's name on a film, they will go. Just as simple as this. And also Hussein.
It will sell.
No?
It will sell. No?
Of course, yeah. So we'd like to see them in festival films. It will, and also they are known internationally, so it's not just a local thing.
Exactly. So speaking of international, obviously, when you make a film, you think about the audience. You can't escape that as a producer, okay? Are you seeing more of these, let's call them quality films, coming out of Egypt that are starting to think more about their prospects in the international marketplace? Is this something that you're seeing a bit more? Or even just more specific to you, when this film was conceived, did you think about that part of the equation?
Yes, I would say so. We didn't want to make a film that we would do nothing with. We wanted this film to be screened and enjoyable, and you'd be just hooked up into the narrative from the first moment to the last moment. And I would say that a lot of not just Egyptian but Arabic films are making international big hits. We are not just counting on the Egyptian box office. We are counting on the international. And I recall Goodbye Julia from last year. It made a great success internationally. Before that was Kafr Nahum. It made an international, especially in China. It was a success, and this success was not expected. Oh, it brought 60 million. And before that, long ago, there was Pulp Fiction. Pulp Fiction was surprisingly an art house film. It was a Cannes title with a Palme d'Or, and it's a success until now. It's bringing money. So this is the mindset that we have. We want money. We not just want. We of course want festivals, but that's also something that we target. And I think if we talk more about the international market that we have for the festival films, I think this will unlock more of. Equity and trust on those films that we are making money, however, not with the same way like the local films are.
Now, speaking of budgets or how the films are financed, the narrative, the typical way that a film, a sort of quality festival film out of the Arab world has been packaged in the past is through usually a co-production with Europe, and specifically France, usually, a sort of minimum guarantee from a French sales company, and that kind of route, okay? And in some cases, what's been said is that kind of skewed the storytelling, because if you start with French money, let's say, you're probably going to be thinking more about the French taste then you're going to be thinking about the Egyptian taste. How is that changing now in terms of, my impression is that there are more resources within the Arab world, and that consequently the storytelling is becoming a bit more, there's less of that tendency for a director to want to please that kind of art house French, European taste, and can focus more on the stories that are deeply rooted within the local culture. I don't know if that's true. I mean, that's just my impression.
As it's always said, the more local you are, the more international. That's something I believe in. It's like if we talk about our own stories, our own cultures, that's interesting. So making the film with your own true authenticity, it makes it more international. You're true to yourself, and you can feel this in the film. It's something that you cannot miss. You can make a very, very good film, but you cannot feel the heart of it. That's something. But about the co-production, that's a very long story, but I'm just going to say that every money that comes from outside the Arab world, it has something called spending obligation, that you cannot spend it in Egypt. And it's as much as the good thing, and it helps in other things in making the film. However, I'm shooting in Egypt, so I would say that in Asia in particular, that I've been funded from almost all of the funds that is in the Arab world. They supported us. And they made us a huge help in making this film. It's Doha, Red Sea, Afaq, Mawrid. And also we started the film in Siniguna. We wanted to go to Cairo too, but we cannot go to both.
You're most welcome. Hotel.
Please remove the premiere thing.
You're
Can
most
we?
welcome.
So we've been supported very. Also, we have a lot of equity that put in film. We have more than 5 co-producers on the film. So this is how we made the film. It was made by the efforts of our Egyptian co-producers, Arab co-producers, and the Arab funds. So I don't remember what was the question about, but this.
No, you did answer the question. No, you did. You did answer the question, because in a nutshell, what you told me is that you were able to tap into all these different funds that are within the Arab world, okay? And that system of funds within the Arab world a few years ago didn't exist. So I think that is a significant novelty. Yeah, and I think the Egyptian quality cinema is able to benefit from that. Okay. All right, terrific.
Nick, may I just add
Of course.
one word? First of all, we have to know that the Egyptian cinema has always been counting on its private sector producing movies. And the Egyptian cinema has never been like what happened with North Africa. The North African states get funding from France and different other countries. But the Egyptian cinema has always been funded. The majority, which is 90% of the Egyptian cinema, is funded by Egyptians and by Egyptian producers and distributors. And then we have to move into what is the meaning of international. What do you mean by international? Because internationally, we have been there. Egyptian cinema has been going all the way from China, all the way to South America. Egyptian cinema has been around, but there are individuals, distributors, that are distributing their Egyptian cinema and Egyptian films. So what is meant by international has always been there. Our films have always been around the world. It's going from Africa to the northern states. So I just wanted to add this point, if you don't mind. Thank
No,
you.
absolutely, and it's going to continue, of course.
Can I add
Of course,
something,
of course.
please? Egyptian cinema has been there for the last 110 years. So it was even parallel to Hollywood at the beginning. So we have a long way back and a big history about it.
Absolutely, absolutely, absolutely. I was referring more to the sort of festival films that sometimes have a bit of difficulty, but in bigger picture terms, obviously that's the case, and I think we're going to see more of that. Actually, I know that there's some films that are in the pipeline that I have potential to really put Egypt to heighten the image of Egypt as a filmmaking country and give it a further boost. I think we're going to be seeing that in the next probably few months even. Now, speaking of international, Ahmed, what's happening on the front of attracting international productions into Egypt? Give me a little bit of an overview of this aspect, which I think has some interesting developments taking place.
First of all, I want to thank everybody for being here, and I'm honored to share the stage with my fellow speakers. We, as Egypt Film Commission, have taken very small steps exactly 5 years ago. We started doing small documentaries with foreign production companies. Then suddenly we had a movie called Inheritance that was an American production by Miramax, directed by Neil Berger. And we had Neil Berger as the director of Bradley Cooper's Limitless movie. So, and projects started growing. And then suddenly I was standing in front of the pyramids with Amin al-Masri and Guy Ritchie doing Fountain of Youth for Skydance. And we went up to a level where in this special movie, we were shooting for 10 days at the Giza Plateau in front of the small pyramid. And these people shot major, this crew shot major action scenes using, we got containers full of fake weapons from London into the country. And our beautiful actress Yusra was talking about breaking taboos. Yes? And this was exactly what we slowly did by time, breaking taboos. It was the first time in Egypt that fake weapons are being brought, containers full of fake weapons into the country. We broke that taboo with the customs. Then we started filming at the pyramids with SWAT teams from the Egyptian police force. And that was another taboo that was broken. Then these scenes also involved filming with military helicopters from the Egyptian army, and that was another taboo broken. So I believe we've come very far, and with another project with Mr. Tamer Murtada, a Roma company, that just finished filming in Egypt was a mini-series called Debriefing the President. And this is for Paramount. These are mini-series. And this is a movie about Saddam Hussein and the Iraq War. So I believe that politically this was another taboo broken. Yeah? This movie, for example, is using lots of military gear from the Egyptian army, like helicopters, like a C-130 cargo plane, like machine guns and Hummers and tanks and so on. So I believe that we have come very far with the backup to the highest level in Egypt, from the Egyptian government and from all concerned parties, to make this dream finally come true in Egypt.
Okay, so there's the red tape situation. In other words, the bureaucracy is easy to navigate. The country doesn't have a formal rebate per se, but there are incentives. Let's talk about those.
There are incentives. For example, we give up to 30% cash back within the services used at the Egyptian Media Production City in terms of studio rentals, backlots that are rented for shootings, equipment even, and we give huge discounts on flights coming into Egypt, on Egypt Air, for example, and in accommodation in certain hotels or in most of hotels in Egypt. And we are on works now with the Egyptian cabinet to start to apply a cash rebate system in Egypt. But although that this is not applied yet, we are still very, very competitive, even with the neighboring countries that have cash rebate systems.
So yeah, so do the math before you just assume that because they don't have a formal rebate, it's not convenient. It's actually, as we were talking about before, it's actually very convenient. Having said all of that, what are the prospects of a formal rebate being launched by Egypt?
Like I said, this is being studied now with the Egyptian cabinet and with all concerned ministries. And we promise the international market that this is going to be applied soon. Egypt, again, I need to emphasize on this again and stress on this, even though there is no cash rebate system in Egypt, the most important thing is what you can bring to the table and for what price. Okay, so we have all year round good weather. Egypt is one of the richest location in the world's richest countries in the world when it comes to the diversity and variety of locations. You have the Red Sea, you have the Mediterranean, you have Sinai, you have the Nile, you have the oasis, the deserts, the pharaonic locations, the Roman locations, the Islamic locations. You have it all here in Egypt. Okay, then you have the infrastructure. You have the very how do I say this? Very old and production companies, talented production companies, and you have the infrastructure in the country as well. You have the talents
some
in the
nice
country as
studios, as I've heard.
and even though some neighboring countries have a cash rebate system that gives up to 40% or even more, we still have better prices in Egypt without the cash rebate.
Okay, terrific. What are some of the locations in Egypt that people might not immediately associate with Egypt that make it attractive?
We have discovered some, for example, Wicked. Wicked was a film for Disney, I believe. They shot in the White Desert in Egypt. People, when we go to certain markets all over the world, and people see locations like the White Desert, Siwa Oasis, some Saladin Castle in Sinai, Wadi Hitan, of course. We have lots of treasures in Egypt that haven't been discovered yet for filming.
Okay, all right, terrific. I think we've pretty much covered the waterfront. I think it's been really fascinating for me because I've been able to get such an overview of different aspects of what's happening in Egypt. And I think obviously it's important that this year not only there's an Egyptian film in the official selection, but as was mentioned before, there's an Egyptian pavilion. So I think there's a good momentum right now, and I think we've covered some of the key aspects of it. So I want to thank you all very much. I've learned a lot.
Thank you. Thank the audience.
Thank you very
much.
Thank you so much. Thank you.